Hey everyone, this is the first video in a series I'm calling Fenrir's Quick Tips. So this one is on sub-assemblies, and this was requested by one of my patrons. He asked how I go about doing sub-assemblies. So as you can see, I'm looking at the White Scar Primaris Captain as an example. So he's actually not glued together. As you can tell, there's a bit of blue tack holding him together, and he's actually in 10 components, including his body. So the things that I consider for sub-assemblies are, what are the pieces that I can leave off that are potentially going to get in the way of other areas, that are going to sort of make areas hard to reach with a brush. And there's also things to think about in terms of parts that might need to be rendered in a completely different color to others, and so it might be easier just to leave it off separate, spray it in a different color. A good example of this is his cape, actually. I primed that black, whereas a lot of the other components of the model I primed in white. So that made that a lot easier to do with it being separate to the rest of the model. Another very specific one in terms of Space Marines is a good example for this. In terms of their shoulder pads, it might be easier to apply a transfer if the shoulder pad is completely separate to the rest of the model, if transfers are a thing that you like to use. So as you can tell, I'm using blue tack to attach these parts to a number of different little holders. I've got a paint pot there, an old Games Workshop paint pot, those nice little wooden blocks there, a cork that I used to attach the head, as you saw, and then you can put multiple small bits onto those wooden blocks, but also use these toothpicks to attach separate parts like the shoulder pads. The backpack will have its own little toothpick holder. So this just makes it easier just to get everything organized, keep everything separate. I just find it easier to paint components this way. As I mentioned, you're not fumbling around trying to paint certain parts of the model, and other components are getting in the way. It's just easier to paint them separately sometimes and then glue them later. So his body there, I've just tacked to that little wooden block for now, but I will actually pin his feet with a bit of brass rod and some super glue, attach that to the wooden block, and then later on you can just snip that off and attach that to his base when he's ready to be fully assembled. So there's all the bits there, ready to be primed. I hope this little quick tip has helped someone out. Thank you for requesting it, William Chong, and I hope you tune in for the next one. Thanks for your support. If you'd like to see my video tutorial on how I painted a White Scars freehand design on this guy's cloak, as well as all of my other exclusive content, then please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. There's a link to my page in the description of this video. Thanks.